You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at Lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day.
Common sense,
Lanterns.buzz.
comedy, and freedom. You found the defenders of American exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network.
Oh, there we go. Hit the button right there.
Which one?
That one.
This one? This one?
That one.
Oh.
Okay. Why can't... I'm hearing a bad echo.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know.
Hit one of those needs to get shut off.
Okay.
Anyway.
Fun times.
Listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network.
Brand new technology. You gotta love it.
Kill one of those.
I am going to.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
Anyway.
Keep on going.
I'm going to keep going. I'm going to take my headphones off for a moment because this is just... I can't listen to the echo. It's driving me insane. All right. Defenders of American Exceptionalism. Lanterns Radio Network. We are honored because we have, broken a whole bunch of records tonight. We redid the entire studio.
Mm-hmm.
We set up new technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have an in-studio guest.
We do.
All at one time.
Yes.
Congressman candidate Alan Chesser from the North Carolina 2nd District. Welcome, Mr. Chesser, sir.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey.
It was, those of y'all that watched the CPAC review and everything from last weekend know that we had Alan on there. And since I dropped the ball in paying attention to his schedule and his website, I felt it necessary that we should have him back to be proper. So instead, he's going to hang out with us for the entire evening.
Woo!
As we discuss Florida and the kerfuffle that is
that.
Alan's going to talk about his race. We'll get to know him a little bit better. So those of you that are listening in the area will be able to go and vote and get George Holding out because hashtag George sucks. And we'll wrap up with a CPAC kind of a recap thing. So it is good to have audio and stuff working properly.
Hey.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
If you weren't obvious, you were missed severely.
Severely. Sometimes, there are those things. Co-host is one thing, but a guy that I can actually connect the audio and get everything right.
Exactly. So Watson is a great co-host. But,
love you, Watson.
But yeah, you can't surpass Stephen's producing
at least
skills.
for this show.
At least for this show.
At least for this show.
So we are going to dive into this. So we're going to talk about the Second Amendment.
A little bit.
We're going to talk about Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we want to start at? Do we want to start at Second Amendment? Or
I was kind of, let's get Florida out of the way because we might as well get that thing out of the way.
It's like a booger in the corner of your eye.
I mean, everybody's been talking about it. Everybody's been saying everything that they wanted to say about it. Obviously, you were at CPAC, so we couldn't really talk too much about it when it was actually going on. So let's run down the situation exactly as it was.
As it was.
As it was and as it ever will be. We have a couple of things going on. First off, you had an active shooter. 17 people have passed away and multiple people were injured.
Yep.
those are terrible statistics.
It is.
And they should never have happened.
Nope.
Should never have happened. Now, many things that have happened since then. We found out that there was at least one deputy that did not go in for a minimum of 4 minutes while the shooting was going on for a full 6 minutes, although he says that the shooting stopped after about 4 minutes, and he thought that somebody was shooting outside, not inside. We also have another report saying that there were 3 other officers outside hiding behind their cars with their pistols drawn, waiting for somebody to come out of the school. You have the fact that the school has a 20-minute delay on their camera system. You have the fact that the school is set up with this weird disciplinary program where they actually don't report disciplinary issues like threatening people's lives and possibly coming in with guns and weapons and ammunition to the cops because they don't want those kids to be arrested. That's never good.
No. Sit closer to your mic real fast.
Sit a little closer to my mic?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right. And then you have also a couple of other things where you have the Sheriff Israel, who gives a terrible representation of that name. I really wish he did not have that name.
You and me both.
Who literally is the buck stops with everybody but him.
See, that's a leader.
He is the best leader that county has had in so many years. And he is the best sheriff that county has ever had, ever, except for that he's a Democrat from New York who loves gun control, but wants more power in the position of cops and in their hands, which,
yeah, because that's how
given
it's
the
supposed
failure that they had just recently.
Feel free
why
to
would
jump
you
in
want-
here,
yeah,
Alan,
please,
anytime.
jump in, yeah, anytime.
Just, you know,
I know, I was just laying it all out, but
Check your thing.
what are you talking about?
Because I can't hear you.
the government would
can't
never
hear me. You won't be able to.
exceed the power granted to it by the people. I mean, they would never abuse authority, right?
No,
Never.
Right,
Like,
right. No, never.
FISA or I don't know, you know.
Now
a gun grab.
you're
Not at all.
You're
I
the
mean,
one
gun
who's running for Congress right now, and you're over here talking nonsense now,
Yeah,
sir.
I
I would appreciate it if you would.
Why don't you elaborate, sir, on your positions on the Second Amendment?
Yeah, let's start there.
Is there a position to be had on the Second Amendment? Because
Oddly enough, some people
There has to
apparently
be,
think there
apparently,
is.
yes.
the Second Amendment is pretty clear cut. I just had this argument. My favorite meme on the internet right now is at what point it's a picture of what is his name, John Belushi or somebody playing John Adams.
Oh yeah.
Is
I
that
gotcha.
him? I don't know if I got the name wrong there. I'm pretty sure I got the founding father right, but I don't know about the actor.
Adams, don't know about Belushi.
So anyway, it says at what point something. I'm gonna paraphrase this. So at what point did a well-regulated militia become an unregulated populace? So my response is always to copy and paste the full wording of the Second Amendment in there, because
Right.
the militia and then the right to bear arms are actually separated. Grammar's important.
Just slightly.
All right.
They're-
There's a comma there. Okay. And the right to bear arms is actually granted to the people,
Yes.
not a militia.
Right.
So
It's-
that's where
What you call it is a so you have one is the operational clause, and then the other portion is the explanation. So we have, for this reason, because we want people to always have a militia, which by the way was a citizenry, it wasn't a standing army, it was the people should always be well armed so that they could then rise up in case of certain things. I don't know, like government taking over and trying to grab your guns and take away your rights.
There you are talking crazy again.
I mean, yeah, I know. So you have that, and then it's the right to bear arms shall not be infringed.
that's just way too confusing.
Well, and we've gone over this
Right.
before. For all intents and purposes, let's be clear that technically, the Second Amendment is not about guns. It's not. Stephen and I have gone through this before, but
It's about your rights.
it's about being able the ability to defend yourself.
Yes.
The right to defend yourself. Now,
Yes.
the reason why, and I've thought about this, and this is something I've wanted to bring up about this whole thing, is the question then becomes, well, why is it that every time we talk Second Amendment, why is it always centered around guns? If it's not about, Second Amendment is not about actually guns, why is it always guns that come up? It's kind of similar to why is it that every time there's a shooting, even though clearly handguns do more killings than, say, the AR-15. Why is it that they target the AR-15? It's the same kind of little thing. And the reason I've come up with is the reason why everyone talks about guns is because, let's be fair, is yes, you can defend yourself with a rock or a stick or a knife or whatever, but guns are the most popular, powerful thing there.
Right.
And we need to make that clear that we can have a discussion on guns and gun control, because you can then start to talk about it from the angle of, like a car, you have to be licensed, you have to be all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. If you look at it and discuss it from not a commodity, but help me out here, like from an object's point of view.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a tool.
Property.
Yeah, it's a tool. And property. And because if you come at it from that angle, then you could start to actually have a conversation about gun rights or not gun rights, but background checks and licensing and testings and and you could do all that without crossing onto the whole violation of the Second Amendment thing. Mm. And you're looking at me funny.
Just taking it in, man. Just taking it in.
Just go on it. Just keep on going. That's fine. Yeah.
No, I mean, how am I wrong on this?
Well, I'm just more libertarian than
I'm with you, but I'm trying.
Shall not be infringed.
But again, you're not talking about guns. If you have the right to defend yourself, that is there.
Yes.
Now, the only reason why we talk about guns is because the military will have guns, so you want to be evenly matched.
Right, and that was the entire point of the whole thing, was that the civilian populace should have the same quality of weaponry as the military.
I agree. I'm just trying to parse things a little bit easier so everyone can kind of have a moment where everyone can kind of go, oh, okay. And,
why don't we leave the parsing to the politician in the House?
Yes, let's. So I want to get out of the hot seat. Turn the light on him for a moment. And let me.
I can handle it. I got broad shoulders. We'll take this.
Wow.
All right.
So there's two issues I have with the current, we'll call secular arguments against the Second Amendment right now.
Okay.
So which one do I want to go into first? So one, I believe that the Second Amendment is there for self-defense purposes. Mm-hmm. And anytime you then try to regulate it in any what they would consider meaningful way, at that point you are now telling me to what degree I'm allowed to defend myself.
Yep.
Any weapon, right? Any weapon can be in arms.
Yep.
That's just period. Any weapon can be in arms. So for the government to come in and say, okay, I can attack you with this weapon, but you can't use this weapon to defend yourself.
Right.
Is then by restricting my ability to defend myself. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that. The bigger issue, the scarier part, which applies to the Bill of Rights and the other constitutional amendments in general, are the danger of collective rights.
Yeah.
Where the current environment is to believe that collective rights are more important than individual rights. That's why they focus on the militia portion of the Second Amendment, because then it turns it into a collective right where you're only allowed to have that right within the collective of the militia. Freedom of speech, some collective organizations, freedom of speech is more important than other collective organizations.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. If you're a part of this collective within society, your freedom of speech is more important or more valuable than someone else's because they might say something that offends you. And I completely disagree with that. I think that collectivism is one of the greatest threats to our individual freedoms and individual liberties that we currently see.
Okay.
And I think that applies across the board. The surest way to defend liberty for all Americans is to defend individual rights for everyone.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it has to be on an individual case by case basis. It can't be about rights of the group or the people or the populace or anything like that. You really just can't go in that notion there.
Yeah, because no one person is better than another.
Exactly.
We're supposed to all be equal, supposedly.
Right.
Supposedly.
That's the entire point of the Constitution. Every man created equal.
Yeah, that. Okay. See, I was worried about that. I wasn't sure what that meant.
Are we just talking about men here, or are we talking about everybody? I mean, are we going to be like, what was that, French? What's the French
That
Prime
would be
Minister?
the Canadian Prime Minister.
No, Canadian Prime Minister?
Oh,
French
Trudeau.
He's French Canadian.
Yeah,
He is the.
yeah.
He's French Canadian.
He
He's
is.
got
Doesn't make him any
Canadian
better.
Prime Minister.
Justin Trudeau.
People kind.
Justin Trudeau.
People kind.
People kind.
People kind.
We use
Is
people.
it,
kind.
is it just
Yes.
me? Is it bad that I kind of wish he'd get run over by a moose?
So is the thing you see in department stores that has, clothing on it, is that a peoplekin?
A
Yes,
peoplekin? Yes.
That is a peoplekin.
It's not a mannequin.
And that's right. Because it can't be a man.
That's right.
A kin.
Well,
But it is technically kin of man.
Hashtag dad jokes.
Oh.
We're gonna have to do that one day.
I like that you did the hand
So-
sign as well. That was
Sorry,
good
Jeff
times.
Durbin. I stole that.
That's okay. That's okay. That's quite all right. That's quite all right.
It's fine. It could be worse. Like we could be doing a lot worse than that.
So to go back to our original portion here, Florida and everything that goes with Florida at this current point in time, we hate that it happened.
Yeah, and
the kid there were so many points, so many failures of everybody, from the school to the cops to the FBI.
Yep.
Everybody failed to stop this kid when there were he called the cops on himself.
Yeah,
He called the cops on himself months before this happened.
At what point? I'm sorry, but like I can't. But I could pretend to try and like let it slide on all the other calls that he got. When you, as the criminal, are calling in and saying,
Right.
"Hey,
Yeah.
I'm a danger to people. You need to come get me," and you're ignored.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's kind of when you need Jesus, I think.
Exactly. And I think we're gonna.
We are going to music's rolling.
Yeah.
I see the thing sliding. We're going to go take a break. When we come back, we're going to dive into a little bit deeper, make Alan tell us more about his campaign and everything that's going on. You are listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, folks. You're listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network. Got that delay again. I can't, or that
Messing you up
echo.
a
It's
bit.
messing with me, dude. I
That's
gotta.
all right.
Anyway,
New technologies, everything's fine.
we'll iron all that junk out later, and it'll sound better later on. Yeah. So
Well, to you.
we are live on Facebook at DOAE Show, Twitter at DOA Show, hashtag Now I Know.
Yep. Use that hashtag.
Please do.
You can also go to patreon.com/DOA show. Become a patron of ours on patreon.com.
Check out the swag.
Because we have some.
We do have some. It's nice. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway.
It's pretty.
It is. Anyway, Alan, do you have any social medias and stuff? How do people find you, sir?
No, I do. I got, I believe it's Alan Chesser
You believe?
for Congress on Facebook. Yeah, I had to think about whether it was Alan Chesser or just Chesser. But it's Alan Chesser for Congress on Facebook. You can Google it, get to the website, which is www.alanchesser.com.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you spell that like two last names, ALLENCHESSER.
Mm-hmm.
And at the bottom of those pages, you see all the social media links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just click and then click follow.
Awesome. And if people wanted to help you out in your campaign, go to the Alan Chesser.
Yeah, absolutely. On the website, we have a volunteer page, a donate page, and then just a contact page. Any suggestions or anything. You can also subscribe. We're going to start sending out some newsletters. That was actually a little funny story. We had a test run a couple weeks ago that
For newsletters?
Yeah, it was a whoopsie.
Uh-oh. At least you can admit that.
But we own it. We own it. Yeah, we sent out another one that said, "Hey, sorry about that. Oops.
Mulligan.
We were testing the system and it actually went live."
Oops.
Oh,
Gotta love
bad.
how that works out.
Yeah.
So, for those who did not see the interview over at CPAC, why don't you go over a little bit about what you're actually about and what you're standing on?
Yeah. Okay. So, excuse me, I cleared my throat there. All right. So, essentially, what we are is we are completely different than what we currently have in office.
You have principles, what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes. But however, ours are more than rhetoric. We're actually out to make a change, make a difference. So,
Okay.
Right now we're heavy in the veterans. A lot of the volunteers within the campaign are veterans. So they hold me accountable. They keep me honest. If I don't keep up my end of the bargain, I'm afraid for my life. Oh, really? But so probably already figured this out. Big time on individual liberties. Want to cut the government spending.
Kind of a little bit, we figured that.
Yeah, and that is completely by design to shrink the government. Now I hear an echo.
Now
That's-
you hear it.
yeah,
Isn't it
yeah,
weird
yeah,
how that
it's
works
kinda
out?
like-
I love how that works out.
Yeah.
I have my phone on silent, yet still.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's
we're
weird.
trying to shrink the government down to size, defend individual liberties. I want to completely abolish Section 702 of FISA.
Okay.
I hope to be in office next time that comes around, so we can get that Amash Amendment passed, and then just work on rebuilding the veterans, man, and fixing the VA and the current broken system that we have, that just the red tape and bureaucracy there that causes wait lines and makes the veterans feel forgotten.
It does. I'm going to steal this one first. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Speaking of veterans, as that's one of our things that you and I share, is we're both. What is your plan? And we may have already talked about this many times before, but what is your plan? Like, what would you do? Perfect world for the VA.
Perfect world.
Perfect world.
Perfect
You
world.
could speak it into existence right now. Your plan, if you could.
If your words became legislation.
gospel. Yep.
Oh, man. In a perfect world would be, there wouldn't be any homeless veterans. You can call the VA and get same-day appointments. And they wouldn't just pepper you birdshot style with medications when you have an issue.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be lovely.
Yes.
500 milligram Motrin.
I wish it was Motrin. The VA has contributed more to the opioid
I know.
epidemic, especially in the veteran community, than it's horrible.
Like, what was it? For example, I'll use my dad, if you don't mind. My dad just got done with, they literally took out all of his teeth. Because of all the medications that he'd been taking over the years from the VA with everything else, it literally had destroyed all of his teeth. So they had to cut them all out from the gum line and ground out his teeth, everything, like the whole disgusting details.
Ouch.
And it took them 1.5 years just to schedule his first appointment to get him seen with the dentist.
I mean,
And then it was another year before he was able to actually get things done.
people don't get it is the VA in its current state is exactly what socialized medicine in, Canada, Great Britain. That's what it. Everybody's like, oh, free healthcare for everyone. No, you want to see what your healthcare would look like? Go to a VA office. Go to a VA hospital.
Yeah, the VA has some of the greatest healthcare providers I've ever met. A lot of the doctors and nurses and practitioners there, they absolutely love veterans.
Yep.
But
Their hands are tied.
the reason there's a wait line isn't because the doctors are so great. The reason people are waiting in line is because the bureaucracy causes wait lines.
Red tape.
Red tape,
Tons
man.
and tons of red tape.
And I'm trying to find there we go. So one of our points, I talked about it before, this is a veteran's ID card that's issued from the VA. Do you have
Your
one?
camera's right there.
So
You're right up there.
I'm up here?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's mine.
Yeah.
Make sure no pertinent information.
I was just realized. I was like,
They
did away
can't
with
read
it.
the
Do you
lines
remember
from
the
that
old
far
ones
away.
used to have a barcode, and if you scanned it, it was your social security number.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
was great.
yeah,
No,
They
magical.
fixed that. That's why they now have these. And if
Yeah.
you look right below my picture, that
Mhm.
handsome man right there, what's it say?
Service-connected?
Service-connected. That means that I have a service-connected disability through the VA. That means the VA has vetted me, determined that I have a service-connected disability, and I'm eligible for health care benefits through the VA. That's how you get one of these cards. It didn't cost me a dime. Okay? In our veterans plan, I would like for it to become law that me or any other veteran who has one of these, it also has your branch of service right there in the middle, so
Very
we
nice.
know where all the Navy guys are.
Hey.
Yeah. So I would like for you to be able to take this ID card that has all your pertinents on it to any local healthcare provider that already accepts government reimbursement healthcare.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Medicaid, Medicare,
Right.
something along
They
those
already
lines.
accept them.
They
the
already
government pay,
accept
right?
it, right? TRICARE, anything like that, and receive care at that location at the government reimbursement rate. And this would work multiple fold to increase health care provided to veterans. Not only would it allow the veterans to pick their doctor and force doctors to compete to treat the veterans, because if you don't like the doctor, you just take your card and go to the next doctor that accepts it, right?
Right.
So you'll get better service directly to the veteran. That would, by default decrease wait lines or wait time for the veteran to actually receive the service. And then, because veterans would be going outside the VA to seek services, it would shorten the lines at the VA, which would then really reduce some of the burden on the healthcare providers at the VA and open them up to provide better service at the VA.
Right. So
It's
if
a
people could
win-win.
if people go to the local providers that they have in the area that already accept, every single one of them already accepts the government pay rate. You're saying if they have that card with them, which they get for free as long as they go and they get it, which is not that difficult, right?
No.
It's a lot less than it's a lot less difficult than getting, I don't know, a driver's license.
Half the price of a cup of coffee. Oh, sorry.
Well, depends on what type of coffee you're getting.
But I mean, it's not. You have to go through the system in the VA and be vetted through them in order to qualify for one of those cards.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that would be genius. It would be
I
so
have to
much
have
better.
that card to get medical care at the VA. They scan that card to get me in.
For you to
So,
get in.
So
yeah.
just add it on to the other places and let it be, because that would be, and then like you said, then it wouldn't be, they would get better care. You wouldn't be just throwing medication at people to kind of, here, this will make you feel better, go away, and because that's
Right.
that's one of the reasons why they push all these opioids and drugs, is because they're so backed up. They've got to get it moving somehow.
Right.
And,
It's a Band-Aid.
so
it
and
masks.
problem is
them on.
just like a Band-Aid. After a while, you peel it off and the skin's all slimy and smells funny.
That analogy fell short.
No, it didn't.
I'm just letting you know.
No, it is. It's. I thought it was fit. Shut up. Shut up. It's my analogy, and I'm sticking to it. So. But anywho, so you are running against George Holding.
I am.
Bless his. Well, I can't say running for him because he doesn't run.
Are we really going to go to the low blows right now?
I can do what I want. This is my show.
Alan is not going with the
Alan's
low blows.
not. I'm doing it.
It's
That's
the
all
show
this is-
host.
Rise above.
Yeah,
Is rising above it.
I could. I go with the low hanging fruit.
We know.
And so does he.
We know.
Is it? Hey, I was in a gym yesterday. Shut your mouth. I'm doing good.
You and your
So
spaghetti
anywho,
arms.
yeah, I know. Anywho, so you're running against George Holding. So, what else do we have? What else? What is another? I'm trying to think. What is something else that obviously? I mean, we could go down the list, and I can be low and everything else. But seriously, like what?
What differentiates you between him?
I think it's actually going to come down to be vocal leadership. I use the word absentee all the time because that's just kind of the way it feels. It feels like we don't actually have a congressman. We don't see him at events. There's no interaction.
Yeah.
And I don't feel he definitely doesn't vote the way I would.
Right.
There's H.R. 1181,
Something like that.
which is the Veterans Second Amendment Protection Act. Right? Which is specifically, it kind of rolled right in with what we were talking about earlier, right? For, veterans should be sorry, my jacket got stuck again.
You're fine.
On you know what.
Yep.
But veterans should be a bipartisan issue. Everyone should be able to fall in line and want to take care of our veterans. But it's odd that this act, which is specifically intended to keep veterans who have served our country in combat from coming back, and just because of their service, instantly having their Second Amendment privileges removed because they're diagnosed with PTSD or something along those lines. I would actually like to see this bill expanded to include law enforcement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because a majority of law enforcement, once you've been on the job for about 5 or 6 years, you're going to have some form of PTSD. You just can't help it. You've seen stuff, you know.
Okay.
You've experienced stuff. That bill is about to die right now.
Oh, nice.
Because of all the goings on in Florida.
Right.
This bill is about to die.
It's about to die on the floor just because nobody else is paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just crickets. I mean, there's no leadership there saying, hey, guys, we need to vote on this. We need to go ahead and get this through. Instead, everyone wants to go back to the Fix Nix Act,
Yeah.
which will do the complete opposite of
What's necessary.
the protecting the veterans.
Yeah.
It will actually make it easier to strip the veterans' gun rights from them.
Because if they have, PTSD or anything
Exactly.
else, it'll automatically pull out
Yeah.
as, well, you are mentally deranged.
And what I don't get is we're actually combining that with the National Reciprocity Act as a poison pill. So all gun toters like me, people who actually support the Second Amendment right, have a carry conceal permit, we're like, yeah, we'll get national reciprocity out of it, and that's the way they're marketing it. But what they don't understand is it's actually making it easier on the backside to strip you of your gun rights if a doctor chooses to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
So the poison pill actually turns into something majorly terrible for
veterans or law
people
enforcement.
or law enforcement or anybody who actually carries a weapon. Speaking of veterans, law enforcement, why don't you go through your background really quickly so that people understand where you're coming from directly?
Okay, yeah. So like many people of this generation, my story starts right about 9/11. That event completely changed my life. I went from being just a, ignorant high school kid to realizing the world was bigger than me. And I wanted to help and serve people. So after 9/11, I joined the military. I had to get my parents to sign a waiver because I joined at 17.
Yeah.
Yep.
So went to Benning for basic training, all that fun stuff. Benning Gentlemen's School for Boys, I believe is what it
I believe that's the
it's right above the archways there. So anyway, in 2005 through 2006, I was deployed to Iraq, and I just rode in a turret for 11 months, running combat missions and recovery missions, anywhere north of Baghdad, all the way out to everywhere, Taji, Bakuba, Mosul. I mean, just the whole northern half of the country.
All
was
them
our
fun
battle
places.
Space. Yeah. Don't get me started on Taji, man.
That's
for another show.
Another show.
Yeah.
We'll bring that in and we'll just hash out war
Talk
stories.
about complacency. That was Taji. So anyway, I came back in logical transition, worked me right into to law enforcement, and then got out of law enforcement and been trying to work within the state and district and county party system to try and affect some changes, and just run into the good old boy system, and people don't want to see things change, so now we're taking it to the people.
Gotcha.
Giving our message out. If people like it, hopefully they vote for us.
So you're trying to buck the system a little bit?
Yeah, I'm all about results, man. Let's get in there, work, let's make things change, let's make things happen, let's rip the Band-Aid off, and I hate to say it, but if you want to make America great again, it takes work and effort.
Right.
It's more than words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And that's Alan Chesser, ALLENCHESSER.com. We will be right back.
Oh, we will be right back.
Yes,
you got to
we
hit
will
the
be
button.
right
And
back.
we'll...
I know.
I wasn't even paying attention to the time. I was listening.
I know. You're doing good.
Yeah. I'm writing everything down. I'm studying. We'll be back on this. Hey, don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at Lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
You're listening to Defenders of American Exceptionalism on the Lanterns Radio Network. Congressman candidate Alan Chester is hanging out with us in the studio.
Gotta love it. We were just talking about his background and everything that he's been through and how that got him here.
Indeed.
And speaking of which, we've been talking about vets a lot. We've been talking about the Second Amendment a lot, and the failures of Florida and everything else. You're working with some of the guys at Mighty Oaks.
Yeah, actually, Tim Payne, my veterans director, my director of veterans relations for the campaign, he actually went out to Mighty Oaks a couple weeks ago, spent a week out there, and is now in the training to become a team leader with them.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
And it's all about rehabilitating wounded warriors and people who struggle with PTSD, whether it be veterans, law enforcement. So. Yeah, man, it's all about putting it into action and actually ponying up and doing what you talk about.
That'd be awesome. And that's going to be, is that going to be integrated into some of the things that you want to do if you do get pushed into Congress?
Yeah, absolutely. A big part that we want to bring into the veterans program is mentorship programs. In the military, we have the left seat, right seat ride. And it's how you train up new Joes or new soldiers to do the job, because basic training only gets you so far.
Right.
AIT gets you a little bit further. So you gotta pull them under your wing and mentor them. I thank God every day I had some pretty great mentors when I was in, and they helped mold me into the person I am today. So mentor programs are going to be a huge part of addressing the VA and rehabilitation moving forward. And that actually is a big thing that came up this past week because you got the Warrior Games coming up, which is where active duty DOD and veterans used to come together and compete against one another or with one another in the Warrior Games. And that allowed a great mentor opportunity for veterans who have already gone through the transition out of the military through the retirement process and the rehabilitation through their injuries to mentor to the active DOD guys who are currently going through the rehabilitation and getting ready to go through the transitionary period. However, this year they're not fielding any veterans for the Warrior Games. DOD is only allowing active DOD members.
So no vets.
No vets.
Why?
Well,
kind of defeats the purpose, really.
There was a team of 40 vets that put in an application and they were denied, and it was that they were going to focus on active duty DOD. I'm not sure exactly why. I could speculate, but I'll probably stay away from that.
Stay away from speculation.
I just see it as a wasted opportunity. There's an opportunity there to mentor to these guys and allow it to be what it should be and build each other up, and it's getting wasted. It's getting missed right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad to get, we're getting division everywhere else, and now we're getting division in something as simple as the Warrior Games. You know what I mean? That's, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of it at all. We were listening to the Trump a little bit ago on the whole let's take guns first and instead of due process.
Because
that's how you do it, right?
It takes too long.
It takes too long, yeah, because by the time that they do everything, you just take the guns first and then you do due process. So you're a congressman, so explain so you know what due process is, right? Or you're going to be a congressman. You know what due process is, right?
Yeah.
So I thought I knew too, but apparently I was wrong.
No, it takes too much time.
It does take too much time. But I thought due process was kind of the whole, innocent until proven guilty.
Well, yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, that's That's the bread and butter of due process.
That's what I thought. So, and being innocent.
Making sure that you preserve the individual rights until the point where you can prove that through their actions they have forfeited them.
Yeah. That's what I thought too. And yet and see, it's moments like this, and this is one of the things that I kept getting asked, and I don't know, I didn't get to see all of your interviews or anything at CPAC, and we'll kind of dive into that in a moment. But wasn't everywhere. I had my own crap to deal with.
Yeah, I know. I heard the sounds.
Anyway, it's not funny. I did my best, damn it, and I stand behind it.
And there's a reason why I'm...
But it was one of those moments that I kept getting people asking me like about Trump and how you feel about Trump, and it's been a year and what do you think and blah 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 blah. And it's moments like now, or in not now, but in that speech where he says we need to take the gun first and then do due process, which just makes you sound like a giant idiot. But it makes all like some of the good things that he does completely negates it.
Well, I don't know. I think Trump.
Well, it makes it hard to have to defend him.
Well, yeah, it does.
That's what I'm talking about.
It does make it hard to defend him, but what you have to make people understand is he's human, just like anybody else. Yeah, did he make a poor choice of words? A faux pas, yeah. The good thing about Trump is he's surrounded himself with really smart people, some great workers, and they're not going to let that translate into policy. And I don't think he will either once he goes back and looks at it.
He looks back.
Yeah, he's
like, once he gets the backlash.
Right. Yeah, spoke out of turn there. That's
I just wish, and that's his only. I guess that's his issue. Is
that's part of the appeal to Trump is that
the no filter.
Yeah, and you get both sides of it because he doesn't run everything he says through the politically correct filter. He's not a politician.
No.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So you get with the good with the bad there.
Yeah.
The good thing about the Trump administration is the cutting of the regulations and the policies that have come out of it so far.
Absolutely.
So as long as he keeps relying on the people that he's put around him, then I think we'll be fine.
That's kind of where I am with Trump. It's what Trump says, I stay away from. What Trump has done so far, that's good stuff.
Yeah, he's almost always off the cuff. So, you get stuff like today, and he's going to go back and look at it and say, oh, yeah, that probably shouldn't have said that.
Or people around him will say, Mr. President, no.
That's not going to work, sir.
That's not going to fly.
We can't say that.
I heard today he's already put in for the election for 2020.
Yes, he
did. They've already started
the earliest anybody's ever done ever.
He's like, I'm definitely going to. I don't care. I don't care right now.
I don't either. The only thing I have to think about is, and it makes me think about it because in comparison with you is like, who would the left put up? Like who is there that they even have like a chance to stand up against?
I just want to see Trump run against Rosie O'Donnell. That's what I want. Dude,
that would be...
Just check that one off my bucket list. That would just be epic.
No, but at that point, you make it out a pay-per-view and be done with it.
Exactly.
That's Cage match. 2 enter, 1 comes out.
But it's for a year and a half.
That's like celebrity. Remember the claymation
Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yes. So good. That would be perfect.
I bet if you Google it, that was a celebrity death match.
That would have been good.
Rosie O'Donnell was in one of 2 of them.
Donald Trump had to be in at least one.
He had to be in at least one. Yeah. That's an after show thought.
Yeah. I know what I'm Googling later.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Celebrity Deathmatch. But anyway, man. So you were at CPAC. So what did you get? Was this your first CPAC?
It was my first CPAC.
What did you think about it?
It was interesting. So the first day, I really didn't have a lot of fun, but I was following the crowd and just trying to figure out what are you supposed to do at CPAC.
Did you?
And then I, realized
you got to market yourself.
I don't follow. So I broke out of the crowd, and the great thing was we had, I had Tim there with me, and like me, he's diehard Christian, and so we just when all else fails, start telling people about Jesus.
I was gonna say you were telling me some good stories about. I got stood up for dinner actually.
Yes, you did. I got the email.
Did you?
Did you get the email?
I got the email. DOAE got the email. So I got the email about you getting stood up for dinner.
Oh, that was a different one.
Again?
Yeah, I got
You
stood
got
up
it twice.
Twice in the same night.
Wow.
Twice.
Yeah, twice in the same night. No. But I got stood up for dinner, and
Who would do something like that?
I don't know. Somebody who was actually, as I found out later, you guys had ran into some guys, and you want to tell that story, or not? I put you on the spot, and you told me you were brainstorming.
I don't think he knows.
You told me you were brainstorming,
So
and then
I got yelled at because he asked what I was doing, and I sent him a text brainstorming, and that wasn't completely accurate. But I was just walking in the room when I got in there, and what was actually happening was, Tim was showing his slideshow. For those of you who don't know, it's Tim Payne, staff sergeant, retired from the Army, lost both his legs in Afghanistan. And he has a great testimony.
yeah, we'll have him in at some point too.
Yep.
Yeah.
On Facebook, it's Joshua Barabbas Payne.
Well, they can just do Chosen Leadership. He's got
Yeah,
two
that's
of
right,
them.
Chosen Leadership.
And they'll
That's a little easier to spell.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier to find. And on there you can see his book. It's called Chosen.
Right.
And it's the whole story from him in Afghanistan, him getting injured, his path to recovery, his struggles with addiction, and then ultimately salvation through looking back at everything he had been through and reading of Scripture. It's amazing. So two of our roommates from CPAC, I walk in, and Tim is going through his slideshow.
With them?
And it's the gospel. It's his story, but it's all about the gospel of Christ.
Yeah.
Which is just amazing. So I was supposed to get him and go to dinner because we were on a time crunch. And instead, I just sat down and just partook of the gospel. And we ended up going to dinner with those guys and continued to just talk and minister to them all night. Well, through dinner, and then we parted ways.
There you go.
Yeah, so it was awesome. It was awesome.
Good. It was good. He come back later and he called. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh.
It's okay.
It was okay. Like I said afterwards,
Sort of right.
I tried giving him a ration, and he told me a story, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, never mind then. That's fine. I was eating a hamburger in the...
It's okay if you think that you're more important than others coming to know Jesus.
Wow.
But then again...
That's, see...
Especially from a person who also goes to our church.
I know. See, but I didn't know all that originally. All I heard was brainstorming because I panicked and I was like, man, they forgot about me. I know I didn't read. I just actually started thinking about it. I'm like, I know I didn't read the website to know you were coming, but really? Almost thought it was on purpose at first.
Nah.
So it's not. And
That's
so
okay.
We forgive it. But no, it was good. So you got pictures with a bunch of people. Did you?
I did.
Did you meet like it?
Were there any starstruck moments?
That exactly.
I
Was
think
there
that's where
anybody?
he's
Well, I
going.
was gonna say, was there anybody there that you actually met and you got to talk to that you were like looking forward to, that you wanted to meet, or did you just kind of oh hey?
Yeah. Well, one person I was really hoping I could meet there was Ben Shapiro, and I got to meet him.
I saw that picture.
That was awesome.
I was jealous.
So, yeah,
I was super jealous.
That was awesome
Why?
because he had a huge
'Cause I wanted
crowd
to meet
around him. And what was really funny was his security detail was telling everyone, no pictures, no pictures, no pictures. But one of them had a Marine lapel pin. So, you go up and start talking to him. Hey, where are we?
Hey, Marine.
Yeah, you start doing the veteran thing.
Play the veteran card. When all else fails, play the veteran card.
And, Tim's like, I want to get a picture. So, like, after we're talking to him for a little bit, find out that his whole detail is Marines.
Yeah.
They're Marines.
Yeah.
So we're just talking to them all. And, while they're doing their thing. And it's funny because if you actually watch, I saw it today. I've got it on my phone. I'll have to show you guys when we get done. The interview Shapiro was doing.
Yeah.
You can see Tim and me in the background talking to his security detail, and then right after that, we get the pictures with him. And
awesome.
Tim gave him a copy of his book. So Ben, if you're listening, it's supposed to be on Things I Like. Just giving you a heads up.
Wow.
I don't think Ben.
No,
listens to
I'm
this
laughing.
show.
I was gonna say I'm laughing at the fact that he assumes Ben Shapiro would listen to our show.
I really don't think Ben Shapiro listens to our show.
We
listen to his though.
He was one, and I got pushed out of the way so that Ted Cruz could take a picture with Tim.
Yeah, Tim
With
kind of
Tim.
stole the spotlight.
He did. That's why I was telling you last time. it's a really weird feeling being the second most popular person on your campaign.
Right.
But I can dig it. I'm all right.
It's fine. I mean, he's a good guy.
One team, one fight.
Exactly. In the end, it's all about the message. It's all about.
Well, I mean, that's what I've told anyone who volunteers for me is and comes onto the campaign is mutually beneficial.
Yep.
I'm gonna help you any way I can, and you just do what you can. That's all I ask. I mean, it doesn't have to be equal in parts.
Exactly. We got time for one more.
One more question.
Yeah,
You got it?
question.
You want one?
You got it.
I do.
It's all you.
I'm trying to
know,
think.
it
What I was
is
gonna
scary.
say. Do you plan on well, obviously, if you win, that's probably not the answer to this. But do you plan on going back next year? If for some strange act of God you don't win, are you plan on going back to CPAC again? Is it something that you?
Oh yeah, I'll be back next year.
Okay.
I'll be back next year, and I'll bring more people.
You want to carpool? Because I think I'm going.
You think so?
He's definitely going.
We're going
Definitely
next year. It's just it was
Yeah.
just, at least I'm going to pay attention to the website
There you go.
And actually get
and read the whole email
every time.
every time, and that way I'm not.
And then reply.
And then I didn't reply because I thought you were going to reply.
Oh no, that
so
was
I
for
didn't
you
wanna-
to reply because you were the one that actually set everything up.
So anyway, moving forward, what do we have to look forward to? Like, you have any events coming up that you want to plug real fast? Anything like something? I mean, no, a lot of this obviously fits for people who are in the local area, but anybody who happens to be in the area who likes what you've heard and
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of different counties. There's 6 counties involved in the district, and it seems like all their conventions are coming up. I'm going to try and make it to as many of those as I can. Outside of that, there's actually a Hearts for Children event going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Christian mission that goes to Belarus and tries to help orphans.
Okay.
oh wow,
So they're having one actually here in Franklin County, Norris Creek. It's in March. I want to say the 24th of March.
okay,
I could be wrong on the date, but you can just Google Hearts for Children and you'll see their event on there or on Facebook.
Is it the 5K that you were telling us
Yeah,
about?
it's a 5K. I'm actually going to have a tent out there set up. I'm going to be out there just supporting them because that's just an awesome cause.
Mm-hmm.
Our church supports it every year. We send a mission team over there. But
Cool.
that's a big one. I would just, even if it's not for me, just to support them, I would encourage everybody to go out there and support Hearts for Children's ministry. It's a good cause.
cool, beans.
Sweet.
So that's AlanChesserForCongress.com.
No, just Alan.
No, just Alan Chesser.
Just Alan Chesser. Why do I
it's
want to add
Alan
the
Chesser for Congress.
That was
It's the
for
Facebook
Facebook.
page.
Facebook. Okay, get them mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, go to AlanChesser.com for help donate if you feel so led to do so.
If you'd like to volunteer, the volunteer page is also there, or you
Yes.
can go to alanchesser.com and actually find all of the ways to contact him if you would like to talk to him or find out more about what he has going on
In the future.
in the future. And this is for U.S. Congress for which?
District 2.
District 2.
Yep.
Okay,
Yay.
there you go.
Good deal. I think we're done.
I think we are. We're pretty close to it anyway.
Almost. You can find us at Defenders of American Exceptionalism. We're on Facebook at DOAE Show.
Yep.
Twitter at DOAE Show. Use
Uh-huh.
the hashtag #NowIKnow.
Do you know?
I do know that I am hungry,
Yes.
but it's late and I can't
How's that
eat.
How's that going for you?
I've
You gave up on it, didn't
no,
you?
no. I'm still doing it, but I'm going to the gym, so I'm putting on muscle, so it's offsetting.
Gotcha.
I'm not-
And you can go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/DOAE show. Get
Yes.
some swag, become a patron.
It's very important that you do that because, hey, you kind of help keep the lights on. Guys, we
Well,
really...
we hope so.
We hope so, yeah.
That's right.
We really appreciate everything y'all do. Drop us a line. We like hate mail, too. So,
Actually, yeah, hate mail. We'll read it on the air.
oh, yeah. Pay the bills that way, too. It's all the same.
Why not, right?
It's all the same. Appreciate it. Like I said, it's Saturday night. Y'all can be doing anything. You're here with us. We really appreciate it. We will see y'all next week, or excuse me, not next week, Wednesday night, 9 p.m., right here live.
Mm-hmm.
See y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.